Cachamaniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
I'm Daryl W4, back with a Bad Cop, and this is episode 76, which was supposed to be new from Munzie, but unfortunately we had some problems getting our guest on for tonight. So we'll try to get him rescheduled and get him back on in a couple of weeks, and this is going to be a Randomize 13. But you know, Bad Cop, it seems like we've had some bad luck the last couple of weeks, because, well, last week we had no YouTube video. Somehow Google just decided to not show up with that recording, and then now tonight we weren't able to get Aaron on.
So maybe we made a mistake in dropping that whole beta tag so early. I mean, you know, we were barely a year into it when we dropped the beta tag, so maybe we should have kept it going just a little bit longer.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
Well, it's not just us. Google Plus has been having issues for the last week, so don't take it personally that our podcast isn't going well. You know, it's affecting many podcasts.
Yeah, it is. We wish we could get everything perfect all the time, but unfortunately we are relying on free services, and since it's free, I guess we can't complain too much.
Yet, here we are. We're complaining a little bit, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess we are. But hey, we've got some great shows coming up. Next week we're planning on talking about power trails with a bicycle. Hopefully we'll have a guest on for that, but that's one I'm pretty comfortable talking about now on my own. The more the merrier. But the following week, June 27th, we're going to be joined by Ricky Briganti of Inside the Magic to talk about geolocation games in the Disney parks. So we've got some interesting shows coming up, and if you have anything to share, including questions, you can call those into 206-350-3647 or email us at geogearheads@cachamaniacs.com. Now, we're actually going to kick this off with a couple of listener feedback questions, actually 3 of them, all from the same gentleman. So, and these were all for Munzie stuff, but we can kind of talk to it a little bit right now. So let's kick it off with the first of those.
Hello, GeoGearHeads. This is Jersey Eric. Forgive my ignorance, but what exactly is a Munzie? I mean, I know it's a game, but did they invent that word, or does it actually mean something else? All I know about Munzie is it rhymes with Funzie, which kind of reminds me of Fonzie. Thanks.
Well, Daryl, here's a question I think I can answer. However, I have no idea on the whole Fonzie reference. That's from Happy Days. That was back in the 70s. I don't think it has anything to do with Munzie today. But well, we talked about it, actually, on Beta 29. There's that beta tag again. 1 year of Munzie. And now, Munzie came from the original German word for coin, or moons, or muns. They took it, changed it a bit to make it unique, and voila, Munzie was born. So with that, they also found that, guess what? Munzie.com had not been taken.
It's amazing what you can learn when you listen to some of our previous shows, too.
Oh, we are just so informational and entertaining.
Is that what we are? Well, I guess we'll listen to the second.
I'm informational.
Okay. Okay, got it. Now we have our rolls down. All right, let's get the second of these voicemails.
Hey, GeoGearHeads. This is Jersey Eric in Central Jersey. I have a question for your upcoming Munzie episode. I was curious, do the people at Munzie mind if a Munzie in its description mentions that it's near a cache? I know around here, and I think a lot of places, a lot of people playing Munzie are also geocachers, and I was curious if that's okay to say this Munzie is near a cache GC XYZ. I know on geocaching.com, you can't promote other games. You can't even mention path tags in your cache description if that's like your first to find prize. I was wondering if the people at Muncie are a little bit more flexible.
Well, in a word, yes. As we've mentioned several times before, geocaching.com has a very broad and very restrictive no commercial use policy. And they have some reasons for having done that, of course. But Muncie, from the get-go, has been much more open to that kind of thing, and a lot of the initial Muncies that I found were placed in caches and had the GC number of the cache right in the description. So yes, it is available. However, it's generally frowned upon within the Muncie community. Most of the Munsiers that I know really don't like finding Munsies in caches. It's kind of one of those, they want their caches to be caches and the Munsies to be Munsies. They're two different things. They don't want them intermingled.
And never the twain shall meet. Though I do know some Munsiers who are not cachers. It's rare, but I have met them.
Yeah, most of those had been cachers who were kind of driven away, shall we say. Yeah, so it's few and far between that you'll not find Munsiers who haven't at least tried geocaching, but I'm sure there are a number of them out there, especially in those higher density Munsie areas where it's not quite as rare as it is out here.
True. Now, I have found Munsies in a cache. Not going to the cache, I didn't look to see if there was a Munsie there, so it was a surprise. And not too long ago, I was looking for a Munsie and found a cache. The Munsie was gone, but there was a magnetic cache where the Munsie should have been.
Interesting.
So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the Munsies that I found are near geocaches, like right next door kind of thing. In urban caches, they'll sometimes put the Munsie on the sign, and then the magnetic key holder is in behind the sign. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening as well. And in those kind of cases, it will sometimes say it's near the geocache.
Right.
So,
I have said in a couple of my Munsies, while you're here, go across the street or go nearby and grab that cache.
Yeah. Well, in any case, let's move on to his third and final voicemail.
Hey, Daryl and Bad Cop, this is Jersey Eric calling about the upcoming Muncie episode. One question I have about the Muncie app. I'm on Android, and I am not a premium Muncie member, but it seems there's no way when you're hunting for a Muncie to get it to go into a compass mode. You can only select a Muncie and then view it on a map. I want to confirm that and find out if there's any intention to link it to a compass or arrow with the new Muncie app. On a separate note, I did start using CacheSense, which allows you to do that, but it doesn't give you CacheSense doesn't give you a list of nearby Munsies. You can only view it on a map. I almost feel that if the two of them got together, to be able to go from the hunt list on the Muncie to the compass view in CacheSense and all the other caching apps. So I'd like to know that.
Well, now, I primarily Muncie on an iOS device, and I know there is no compass or arrow at all on an iOS device. One thing that's nice is the Muncie app does not rotate. So when I'm out with my kids and I'm wanting them to find, I realize it's always pointing north, we may be walking east, but they're looking like, Dad, we're walking sideways across the screen. So I'll just turn the phone and hand it to them and say, here, this is the way we're walking, and then they can navigate to it easily. On the Android version, there is a very small arrow up in the, I want to say the right-hand corner that points towards...
There's actually like a compass in the left corner and an arrow in the right corner. So you actually have two different pointer devices, which is a little weird.
A compass showing which way you're going,
yep.
which way you're heading, and then an arrow pointing towards the Munzie you've selected?
Yeah, I'd have to go and play with it a little bit more, but basically, yes.
So there is something on the Android. There's nothing on iOS. You only have the distance to the Munzie. So I wish that was something that was ported over to the iPhone version of the app. Now, the site I really like is munzie.dfx.at. There you can put in a range of a distance from ground zero, from wherever you want to be, and take those, make those a GPX file. Then you can put those directly into your GPS and use that arrow. And of course, the compass, the whole GPS is a whole lot better than your cell phone, and that's going to get you right to the Munzie. However, you still have to pull out your cell phone to scan it, so you can't be completely cell phoneless. But that's a good way, I think, to get the best of both worlds there. And again, that's munzie.dfx.at. And there you can do a radius search. You can search along a route. And, I don't think there's a limit to the number of Munzies you can pull down, since they're very small as far as like an individual cache information. You can grab a whole bunch of Munzies and stick them into your GPS, and it'll deal with them quickly and easily. You could also put distance warnings on them, like you do with caches. So as you're driving, you'll get an alert that a Munzie's within, whatever distance, half a mile, quarter mile, whatever you want to put on that. So if you're truly trying to do some power Munzieing, I think the GPS is the way to go.
Yeah, it's always nice to have the dual screens too. Mm-hmm. Now, getting back to the previous topic, we did have one of our viewers on Google Plus, Tim, note that he likes the randomized shows, but he's found a few Munzies in caches. Most of the Munzies are not, and there doesn't seem to be a restriction. So, he's basically confirming what we were mentioning earlier. But now that we are on a randomized show, we get to talk about some other things. And before the show, we were kind of talking a little bit about this new obsession that I kind of picked up on, which is Wallaby. And that actually came, I'll have to link to the article, one of our previous guests had participated in, or actually written. And he's the one who turned us onto it through the blog post. And boy, I'm really getting hooked on Wallaby, which is, right now it's iOS only, and I hope that they do come out with an Android version, because I can get so many more people hooked on it if there were. But have you had a chance to check this out at all, Bad Cop?
Well, and thank you for introducing me to another one of your obsessions. I'm sure I'm going to get into it now. And that's exactly what I have time for this summer, is yet another location-based game.
Oh, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was being sarcastic. I'm kidding. Okay. I saw some Google Plus posts between you and XPunk X. I want to say it was last weekend even, or perhaps Monday of this week. And, you said, hey, I'm loving this Wallaby thing. And I'm thinking, you've got a marsupial? What did you get here? So I had to go look it up. And it looks very interesting. I pulled up the webpage. Now, it looks a lot like the old Gowalla.
Yeah, it really seems to take a lot of its inspiration from Gowalla. It's a very different entity than what Gowalla was, especially what it became, because it's kind of taken the best of the Gowalla, to me, which was the items in the collections, collecting the items, saving the rare items that you can't get, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed that part of the game. I didn't so much enjoy a lot of the other stuff that they came out with. So, this is focused on those collections. Is less about the sharing your location, sharing the information that you don't necessarily want everyone to know, posting your updates, the Foursquare kind of thing. This is really about you run around, you forage is what they call it at locations, and it's unlimited foraging, but you do kind of seem to get diminished returns. Like if I go to the office, I can go and hack. Well, I keep calling it hacking after Ingress, but you can go and
level 8 Ingress guy.
Yeah, you can go into like the office, and you can just repeatedly forage in there and get some different objects, or you get honeycomb, which is a currency of the game. And it's a freemium type model too, where you can actually purchase more honeycombs, and there's a marketplace where you can sell your items that you don't want. There's a store where they kind of auction off on a time interval. It's not an auction; it's a set price, but it's timed intervals. They'll have different objects for sale, different items for sale, which you can purchase through honeycomb, and you can certainly do it without paying any money to play the game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And really, I think the best way to probably play it is to not spend any money on it, because then it's more challenging. You kind of cheat by buying upgrades, and you have
it's the quick and easy path.
Yeah,
it's the path to the dark side.
Yeah, there's certainly reasons to do it, and you can support the authors of the game by doing it that way, and I certainly don't want to discourage anyone from buying upgrades. Like you can upgrade your pouch, which is what you store the items in, before you archive them off to the sets. So anything that's in that temporary storage is in your pouch, and you can pick up items. You can get them from for foraging. You can drop them at locations. You can swap at locations. You can pick up from locations. So you just run around, basically fill up your pouch. You start dumping them off into locations. You can trade with other players. So it's a much more social game in that respect than Gowalla was. In Gowalla, you could drop stuff at a location, and then you had to pick it back up. There was nothing in between. You had no trades. If you wanted to trade, someone had to drop it, and someone had to pick it up. Now I can trade halfway across the world, and it does come from the UK. So it is kind of unfortunate that it is. We actually just got a comment on the Google Plus from Wet Coaster asking if it is Apple only. It's regrettable that it is right now iOS only. It's actually iPhone. You can play with the iPad or the iPod or the iPad in the 2X mode, but it is iOS only. It's over a year old, so I don't hold out a whole lot of hope that they're going to come out with an Android version, but I would like them to. But as I was saying, it was mostly from the UK. That's where these guys are, and they seem to have a very big community over there. Compared to what we're finding here, we're running around in this area, and we're the only ones playing. Okay.
Now you mentioned iPod Touch. Does it work on that? I would assume it has to have a GPS. It's some location based, is it not?
It is location based, and it uses core location services, I'm sure. So even if you were to just do Wi-Fi only, you could probably use that. I haven't actually tried it that way, but that would be my assumption is just using the Wi-Fi only, you could get a location and you could play it like at school, at the house, that kind of stuff. So there is that option for the kids, and certainly for like a second device. If you're going to, just play maybe on your iPhone most of the time and you have the iPod that you use around the house or something like that, you can certainly probably use that for doing the trades, for doing the chatting back and forth, because there is a conversation engine. And certainly you can do things like watch the store and that kind of stuff. So I think it would be usable. I haven't tried it, but I think it would be usable on the iPod.
Nice. Now, is it using the same large location database of Gowalla or perhaps Foursquare? Or even, like a Facebook or Google Places?
No, they have their own database that they've created that is not as thorough. But you can add your locations in as you go and encounter them. This week we've been doing a lot of walking around and going and stopping in front of every business and putting every business in that we find.
I see.
So at this point, we had, when we started on, I think it was Monday that we actually started with it, we had like two, maybe it wasn't even two, maybe it was only one business that we could actually hit from our apartment. And there's a strip mall here, there's a strip mall on the other side of the street that literally like back up to our apartment, and we've got a whole bunch of businesses in there. So we went and did that, and now we have about 8 businesses that we can hit from the apartment. If we just walk out to the corner, we probably have about 2 dozen within a little bit of a walking distance. And it does have a certain range, which does vary depending on the type of location it is. But it's about 200 yards so about 200 yards, probably a little bit over 200 meters actually is, I think, the general restriction for where you can hit it. And one of the problems that some people have mentioned with the game is their initial placements on a lot of this stuff are so far off because they probably just took the database of addresses and geocoded from those, and you know how bad those can be.
Oh, those are terrible. Now,
so yeah, I think that's where it came from.
How long does it take from when you add an address or you add a business till you see it in the game?
It is instant. However,
nice.
They do have some kind of timer on there where you will get only the honeycombs. You won't get any items out for the first, I don't know, maybe about 4 hours.
Okay.
I haven't found a whole lot of information on that, but I have found a couple of references to that. There is a timer on there so that you can create the location, and they're not going to give you goodies right away. So kind of a little bit to discourage the creation of private stashes that you can hit, that kind of thing. So they don't want you creating one for your house. They strongly discourage that. Among other things, you don't want to create a location at your house because you'll have people coming by at all hours of the morning and evening.
Right. It's the same idea as hiding a geocache or a Munzie at your house.
Exactly. If you want to do it, fine for those two, but for this kind of stuff, it's not really advisable, and it's frowned upon because it kind of gives you an unfair advantage. Though living in an apartment like this is kind of an unfair advantage, or if you're in a skyscraper and have 60 different businesses in the same building,
sure,
that can kind of be a disadvantage. We were down in downtown Birmingham, Michigan here this evening, and sitting at the Starbucks taking a break, we filled up the entire list of stuff that we could go and forage at while we were sitting in the Starbucks. So we didn't even have to move, and we were just going round robin getting all of these locations. I couldn't give you an idea as to what the count is on those.
Wow.
But it's a huge number of locations that we could just go foraging, and it was kind of nice. I actually made the comment, this is something that would be a lot of fun to do when you want to get out of the house, but it's raining and you don't want to go walking around in the rain. Sit at your favorite coffee shop and go and hack away.
Or at a mall or someplace like that.
Yeah. Now, the mall, I would imagine you're going to have some issues because of GPS reception and maybe some poor data service.
That could be.
But it certainly would be an option, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to trying it at the mall next time I'm over there, trying to escape the rain.
Nice. And
we have had some bad rain over here lately.
I've heard there's just been a few sprinkles here and there, shall we say?
Yeah. So, I might be doing that a lot sooner than I would like to, actually.
Nice. Now, I haven't yet played it. In fact, I just downloaded it. So I'll try not to play it too much so I can continue and have a decent conversation. I want to make bad jokes like I go to the market and buy my honeycomb there too, but that's a whole different thing.
Well, and make sure that you do friend me if you are on Wallaby, and my username is just DarylW4.
Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. And that way, you can poke me. I don't know a whole lot, but I do love doing the trades for whatever I can and help people out. And that's one of the things I have to say is the people that I've met so far through this game have been so outgoing and so willing to help that it is amazing.
Nice.
One of the things I should note about the items is they're all serialized. They have numbers. And the things that people
Cereal
really
and
want...
honeycomb again? Really?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but they're all numbered. So the lower the number, and this is just like Koala, the lower the number, the more desirable that is. So if you have something that's under number 100, you can sell that usually for a few thousand honeycomb in the marketplace. They're also highly sought after, so you can get all kinds of goodies if you have one. Now the trading is only 1-to-1, so you can do one item for one item, but it does allow you to add honeycomb to that, so you could say, well, I've got this really low number thing that you want, and you have this high number thing that I would kind of like, so I will give you the low number one, and you give me, 1,000 honeycomb, and that's it, and that's the way that the trades can work. So there is some coolness in the way that works. And another thing I should mention about the items is there's a mix mode where you can actually take two items or more, I guess, and blend them together into other items. So there are actually some items in the game that don't allow don't get picked up. You can buy them, but you can't pick them up. You can only mix them.
Interesting.
Now, for anyone who's looking for that, and we have some people in the chat here in the Google Plus comments, I guess is actually the right way to say that. Looking for how it's spelled, it is Wallaby, WALLABEE. And we'll link to it, of course, in the show notes so that people can find their website with some information on there, and it will help you get started.
And I just signed up, so I am the bad cop. I know it's a big surprise for you all, right?
I never would have guessed that you would have picked that name.
I know. I'm just really predictable like that.
Hey, sometimes it's good to be predictable.
I'm not seeing how to add a friend, but I'll look at that later.
Okay. It is not tough at all, actually. If you go to your profile, which is the lower left corner, you can hit your friend button, and the interface on this does take a little bit of getting used to. And if you hit the friends, if you hit that, there's a button in the upper right corner that asks you to find your friends.
I didn't see that. I got my profile, friends. I can see nearby, hot, and friends.
Oh, this is so much fun. I think you're in the wrong one. But it's so much fun to listen to.
Oh, you know why? Because I haven't gone through the tutorial yet. That's what I'm missing.
Got it. Okay. Well, that would be a good reason. Now, here's the other question. Did you do the bad cop with or without the spaces?
I did it without the spaces. I'm finding more and more websites don't like the spaces in the name.
This is true.
So I did capital T, capital B, add, capital C, op.
See, and I found you, and I've already sent you your friend request.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
I thought you would be.
Hey, look at that. I've got a 1 there, and I still don't see friends yet. So I'm going to have to go through the tutorial before I think I get full access to the...
Yeah, you're going to have to approve the friends request, which is in the inbox. So again, on that, you have to definitely go through their little thing to get through. But you have to go to the inbox, and in the inbox are notifications, which include the trade notifications. They'll include sale notifications, that kind of stuff. And then there's conversations as well. So you have like a little in-game chat that's available. So a couple of different things there. And one of the other interesting things is you can actually put what they call stories on the individual items. So if you sell something, one of the things that I found very commonly occurs is people will put a little note, thank you for buying this item, something to that effect. And then that story follows it along, and most of the time when people have purchased items, they friend me as well. So that's how I've ended up with so many friends, and they've all been so helpful, not just in helping to show me the ropes, but in giving me the high-numbered items that they maybe don't want, but
They don't
really
need or want anymore.
yeah, it really does help to get started. And in 3 days or so of playing, I had a couple of the sets completely filled out. I got a lot of help today from someone, and I had the set or 2 more sets completely filled out, and I'm doing pretty well on a number of the others. So it's a lot of fun right now because I'm just getting so much, and it is going to get a little bit more challenging, and I think a lot more fun. Definitely something to try out if you're on the iOS and looking for something a little bit lower key and a lot easier. You know, I hate to say it, but I sit at work anytime there's a lull in the action. When I'm waiting for a computer to do something or whatnot, where I sit there at the office and I go forage, I go play with the trades and that kind of stuff. It's just a nice, fun little thing to pick up whenever I have free time. Or actually, whenever I don't have free time and still want an escape.
Your boss doesn't listen to this show, does he?
No, he doesn't, I'm sure.
Okay, good. Now,
and please, no one call him and let him know that I've been playing the
I hope
game
my boss
at office.
doesn't listen either. Are there any items that are specific to certain locations? Like, are there items that you're going to get in Michigan that I'm not going to get in Washington?
No, there are not, which is an interesting point because they do have what they're calling branded items that are like sponsored things. So for those sponsored things, you have like the company logo or something, and one of them is MailChimp, and they actually have 2 different items. That is pretty darn cool. So
I have
you'll get that
MailChimp T-shirt.
Yeah,
but I
let me
forged
take a
that
look
in real
quick.
life.
They have a MailChimp hat and a MailChimp plushie. And those don't go into sets. They go into the branded version, the branded separate section. And they'll have like a button that says Learn More. They sometimes, a couple of them are actually support tools for Wallaby. And like so many other games that you'll find these days, there are other things, other programs, other websites that help run it. And one of the great ones that's got its own thing that is web-based is its own sponsored item, which they call the branded items, is itembrowser.com. And that one is just a web-based, mobile-formatted tool that will help you find stuff, give you some information, give you some tips, and that's a great little free resource. The app that most of the serious people seem to be backing is actually Honey Blend, one word, and that is a great tool if you want to spend the money to through in-app purchases to buy all the features. You can get individual features for a little less. You can do a free version, which basically just gives you like the item browser, so you can see the specs on the item, find out how much, blah blah blah. Some great information there. And that one is free to download. However, you don't get all the features until you upgrade.
Sure. And thus the freemium model.
Well, for that one, yeah. And in the game itself, it does freemium, where for I want to say it's $3. Let me double check. You can double your pouch size from a capacity of 30 items to 60 items. Yeah, it's $2.99 to upgrade from 30 to 60 items. There's the option to buy the honeycomb, anywhere from 99 cents to $12 worth of honeycomb, so that you can buy more stuff. They do have a freemium model. They also have a model to get some money, hopefully, out of sponsors. But the way that they're doing it is very, very cool. They have these branded items, which are essentially like in-app advertising. But the way they do it, they become highly desirable because they're part of the game. They're game pieces that you have to collect and save. And again, people are looking for those low-numbered versions. There's some of them that are more rare,
Mm-hmm.
and people are more interested in it, and people are actually spending those honeycomb on. So
Or perhaps
it's an
even real
interesting
money.
way to yeah. It's an interesting way to handle the sponsored advertising kind of model.
Well, I'll be digging into this evening.
Well, and
Since,
I already know that one of our viewers has dug into it too, because I got his friend request and accepted his friend request during the show.
Oh, wow. How nice. I still
Wasn't
only
that
have one.
handy?
He doesn't like me yet.
Either
Oh,
that
wait,
or he
never
hasn't
mind. I got
found you.
two.
Oh, there you go.
I assume it's the same viewer.
Probably. So yeah,
Maybe
it's-
next show we'll just keep talking about this until we get 20 or 30 of our listeners to friend us, and we won't stop the show until we get to a set amount. What do you think?
I don't think that's going to work because I don't think we have that many live viewers.
Oh, well, it was worth a shot.
Indeed. Now,
Can you tell I'm desperate for friends?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm in social media.
Oh. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
That was me.
Well, transferring on to the other side of the spectrum,
my
we're going to
friend-
talk a little bit
Friend
about.
request went down by one.
Ingress.
No.
Oh no. Anyways, we wanted to talk a little bit about Ingress because they've made some changes, and that is, as we mentioned before, the Android-only game
Mhm.
that really gets into more of a battling kind of thing, and it's it's an interesting social end of the game to Ingress, but it does get very aggressive, shall we say, between some of the players.
Oh, without a doubt.
Whereas the games like Gawala and Wallaby have been much more, cooperative, competitive. Ingress is very much a competitive game, and I'm just waiting for the day when someone's going to get into an actual fist fight or worse, which may have already happened and we just haven't heard about it.
That's true.
But they
That's
have
true.
made some serious changes in the way that the game works over the last month or so.
Well, just this
And
week is when the 5 new mods came out.
Yeah. But even before that, they changed the way the shields work.
Mhm.
They changed the way that a number of different things work, including adding in the Jarvis and the Ada virus, which are kind of cool because they'll just convert the portal from one faction to the other. So the Jarvis converts to green, and the Ada converts to blue, if I'm remembering correctly.
Instantly with no damage. I mean, it just...
Well, it's
Flips
better
a
than no
switch.
damage. It actually seems to charge up the portal, so it goes.
Oh.
If it's like 50%, it ends up as a 100% power portal.
Wow.
So that's pretty interesting.
So, I have yet to hack one of those. And I could see it using them to hit a major hub with a whole bunch of connections out of it and flip it in one shot.
Yeah, it would be nice. And I've only seen it used in person once, and it wasn't a connected portal. But boy, I really want to see this and try one out. And there's a bunch of other new features which I don't know enough about yet, but I did want to bring this up on the show, get some more people familiar with Ingress to maybe talk about it later on. But I'm actually going to be on the Ingress Hour, which is tapdetroit.com show
Nice.
on Monday at, I want to say it's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, to talk about Ingress and how to do some things like hopefully a little bit with the dry bags and batteries and that kind of stuff, ways to kind of enable longer play and play in the weather that you normally wouldn't go out to play Ingress and geocache and that kind of stuff. And this is one of the great things about these kind of games too. When you don't want to go traipsing around through the mud playing, geocaching, when you want something that you don't have to go as far, because these games all have that ability to revisit the same locations over and over. They'll take you to new locations, but they do have the ability to do, like my morning drive to and from work, I can stop and do Ingress. I can stop and play Wallaby. It's something that really likes. They really like because it doesn't require you to go longer and longer distances.
Right.
Yeah, I would play our geocache almost exclusively if I could go and do bunches of caches. And let's face it, going and revisiting the same cache isn't going to be as much fun
No.
as these other ones. But if we had caches more frequently, if they turn over more often, I would go geocaching much more often because I could. But as it stands right now, it takes too much work for me to go, find a geocache 10 miles away that I can't go and do it on my drive to or from work.
What you need to do is go to all those cache locations and make a new Wallaby site there. And that way you'd want to go back again. Yeah,
but I can't claim it as a find because I've already found it.
I know. Now, in the chat room, we had talked about, you had mentioned that perhaps Ingress could cause a real world fight. Wet Coaster mentioned there has been some stalking episodes that have been reported in Ingress. And I can see that. I know one time I was downtown Tacoma. It was 9, 10 o'clock at night. It was late. And that's when the parking's really easy in downtown. And I pulled up behind another car, and I could see they had some sort of device. You could see the glow in the car. And I'm hacking a portal, and they're recharging it. And, but they kind of got creeped out and left. I have that effect on people. And didn't stay very long. But I was convinced they were playing Ingress.
Well, that actually brings up an interesting battle I had last Sunday. I was just out, doing some, casual farming, hacking, blowing up random stuff. And all of a sudden, I noticed that one of the portals on my way home was under attack. So I swung by and started to defend it. Well, the girl who was attacking it was too busy sitting in her car looking down, and I'm driving around, I'm getting out, I'm walking, I'm standing at the portal, sitting there bombing it, using XMPs, trying to get it back. I ended up wasting so much. It was a lot of fun in one of those very futile, very pointless kind of ways that most people who play Ingress will know, and most others will go, why the heck would you want to do that? But it was a lot of fun. Just going back and forth, and she finally, I think, figured out who I was as I went and sucked up all of the spare XM around the post office when I drove through. Well, as I'm driving out, she gave me this really dirty look. So she knows who I am. I know who she is, and she does not like me one bit. She gave up for a little while, and then of course came back with reinforcements and took it out. But that was a lot of fun. That's the kind of stuff that really can be fun. And I wish that she would have gotten out and introduced herself and said hi, because we've run into a lot of the Smurfs, as we call you guys over there, you blue meanies.
Yes, I'm the Bloom Boys.
Yes, and I am the frog. Yes. But in any case, we have run into a lot of the guys that, you get out, you battle, and it's a very friendly atmosphere, and, it's okay, well, let's go buy each other a beer kind of the deal. Well, when you don't get out of the car, you don't say anything, it's like, well, it kind of makes the game less fun, and it does make it a lot less personal, where I think you are going to run into some of those more aggressive feelings and actions.
It can happen, yeah. Another time, downtown is where they had the majority of portals. Now, just 2 blocks up, so I've changed my morning commute. I can hit a good number of portals every day. I tried to connect with somebody using the comms, and I found it just too slow. You would have to wait 5-10 minutes for messages to come across, and it was like, even walking, I'm 4 blocks away now by the time I get the message, hey, I'm here, where are you? See, I was there 10 minutes ago, where are you?
Yeah, we do a lot through the comms, and the comms have been drastically improved. They are much more responsive, much more real time. If you get a lot of traffic, it still does seem to slow down a bit. But what we do here is actually use Glimpse. And that way you can actually see each other. Glimpse is a great tool. I highly recommend it even for group caching. If you're going to be splitting up, doing something like that, something like a MOGA or a road rally even, it would be a great idea for the organizers to just have a dedicated email address or something where everyone goes and sends them their glimpse, and then it's like, the mission control, you have a big monitor showing where each team is. That'd be a lot of fun. It does suck down your battery, but if you're plugged into the car, it's not a problem. Or if you're running around with a bunch of battery packs like I tend to, it's a great way to go. And with like Ingress, you're already running that radio full out, both the GPS and the data radio. So it's no measurable load. It's been awesome. So I would say if you're going to be doing Ingress and you want to get that real-time tracking of your fellow players, do that. And I've used it so many times when I'm just out farming. And farming is what the Ingress players refer to when they go through a bunch of the portals and just continuously hack trying to get items that you need to play the game. And I've run into, to get the supplies. And I've run into many, many players that way. So, that's a great way to do it. Though I don't think I would actually try that, to put in the public comms. That's something that you post in the private comms. And as someone else in our Google Plus just
one
mentioned,
of your fellow frogs.
Yep, who I'm not going to refer to as anyone but Steven. You do have the option of using Google Plus, and what we've done in this area is set up a separate hangout for just the green team that we know who they are. And that's one of the problems that some people have mentioned and have run into, is that the comms, the secure comms, which are supposed to be just your faction, aren't necessarily secure, because it could be that someone's a mole or a spy or something like that, so it's not necessarily something that you want to trust. So that's when the all hangout kind of thing really works well. And just even posting to Google Plus is a good way to go into a common community. And we have our own community in the area, the Metro Detroit community.
Exactly. We have one here too.
It's a great way to do it. Yeah.
And the wet coaster said the exact same thing. And he says there seems to be more of both sides getting together to help the overall community.
Yeah, definitely.
In a more friendly, cooperative environment.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it cooperative, but in a more collegial mode. How's that?
Because after all, it's a game.
Exactly. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. We're not supposed to be fighting with each other. It's kind of like
though
going.
We have weapons.
Yeah. It's it's like going and playing paintball or something, and that can be the same kind of deal. Kind of think of it as electronic capture the flag in real life. It's not. Think of it as capture the flag. It's not supposed to be that serious.
Exactly, but you can get pulled into the heat of the moment.
Indeed, but we have another episode of Randomize that's gone probably a little longer than we should have. So why don't we wrap up this show by reminding everyone that we have 2 more great shows coming up. We're talking next week about power trails with bicycles. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you've tried a power trail on a bike, let us know what worked for you, what didn't work. If you're going to try it, let us know what you would like to know, and we'll try to answer those questions. And then also, the 27th is going to be another great show with Ricky Briganti of Inside the Magic podcast to talk about the geolocation games inside the Disney parks. And there's some great stuff that they've been doing over there. Really inspiring as a geocacher, and I'll go off on a little tangent to let people know what we're talking about here. Last time I was down in Walt Disney World, they had this interesting game called the Kim Possible Adventure that took you around the World Showcase with a little flip phone type device. And that device would interact with various physical real world elements. Things like smoke would come out of a chimney, a magic statue or something would pop out of a lagoon. So there's some great things that are only the property owner can do, and only someone like a Disney could pull off some of this kind of stuff because they control the environment so well. And I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about that because I think there is some interesting stuff, not just for the gameplay when you go out on vacation to one of these places, but maybe some inspiration for geocachers to look into. So lots of great stuff, and we will get Munzie on to talk about their new version, some of the stuff that's changed in the past few months. So look for that following those 2 episodes.
Now, check the Cacheamaniacs website at cacheamaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes from this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by calling 206-350-3647, by emailing geogearheads at cacheamaniacs.com, or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cacheamaniacs shows coming. Please consider making a PayPal donation through the link on our website to support the Cacheamaniacs shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. The show's copyright 2013 by Daryl Wattenberg, all rights reserved.